All right, George Rose. Big day today. Liam Wilson, an announcement, a rematch with Yusuf Dib. How did this fight come about, and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, no, I'm actually pretty excited for this fight. I liked this fight the first time around. It actually made me pretty nervous. Obviously Liam Wilson is our guy, and I thought for 90% of that fight, Yui did was really looking very good, and I thought it was heading his way, and then Liam just unleashed his one punch power and absolutely changed the direction of that fight. So, both guys tremendous records. Liam obviously world title challenger, but Yui's got a hell of a record behind him and a decent resume, and it made for an exciting fight the first time around. I think second time around it's going to be great as well.
What does it say about Liam that he won the last fight via knockout, but he wasn't totally satisfied, and he's willing to go back there again.
Well, again, even though he won the fight the first time around and it was a knockout of the year performance, I think leading up to there was a lot of things that I think that he wouldn't have been happy about, and I think this time around he really wants to come out and make a statement and do things different. So, or not even make a statement, just be more. I guess be more respectful of Yui and his talent, and aim to win every round rather than be dictated to at any stage of the fight. And I think for Yui, it's a chance for him to turn the tables and look for an opportunity to get that one up back on Liam, and a win there completely changes his trajectory as well.
A good card, this one as well. Some names on the undercard as well.
Yeah, a co-promotion with Ace Boxing, and one thing that I love about them is that they always match great fights. Every one of Angela's cards that I've been to, they've always been really well matched fights and very entertaining. And the talent that he's got available here in Queensland, the Queensland talent that's going to be on this card is fantastic. We've obviously got Vegas Larfield making a return to the ring. I'm really excited to see Vegas get back around. He's just had the birth of his young fella last year, and he's looking to make a big play for it this year. So, I'm expecting big things from Vegas this year. We've got Kira Rushton, one of the most avoided guys in Australian boxing. He'll be on the card, and he'll be looking to continue his journey. Big Floyd Masson. He's an entertaining guy. I love watching his fights. So, I'm really impressed with the amount of talent that's going to be on this card, and we're doing it all on No Limit on Fox.
You mentioned it, co-promotion with Ace Boxing. A lot of people may not have expected that to happen. Can you sort of talk a bit about how that came about?
Yeah, no, look, we've yarned about that for quite some time, and I think as far as timing and opportunity landed, it just worked out perfect. We haven't been back to Brisbane for nearly 2 years, but I have always enjoyed the shows that we've put on there. The last time we were there, Liam put on a fantastic performance. We've seen Nikita Tszyu's debut up there. There's been plenty of really good fight nights that we've done, and then now we're coming back up and we're doing it with Ace, and I think they've been doing such a fantastic job in Australian boxing promotions for a very long time, and looking forward to working with them and putting on a great show.
Devastating news this past week. Sam Goodman had to withdraw from his undisputed title fight. Can you just sort of talk us through? I guess he had to pull out just before Christmas, and then he got his hopes back up, and then this sad news. Can you just sort of talk about that?
Yeah, look, I think we're all excuse me. I think we're all shattered to hear the news of Sam. The first time around, it was a massive shock, and we're really lucky that we're able to reschedule it and get it ready for January 24th, and then for this to happen again, and even worse this time around. Look, it was shattering. I know the amount of work that Sam's put in to be in this position, and I think we're all looking forward to going over to Japan and experiencing the Japan promotion and the Japan fight night, and not only that, but for Sam to get there and get his opportunity to become an undisputed world champion, huge payday, everything there. He's now missed out on that with the injury, and I really feel for him. I feel for him. But this it's boxing. It's one of those things that happens, and for whatever reason this has happened. It's something that the dreams of Sam Goodman to be in that position are absolutely shattered. But I think all of us, we're still supportive of Sam 100%, looking forward to him recovering and getting back on top because, this was going to be huge. It was going to be absolutely massive. And I know you're shattered too because you're locked in for Japan. I know you already had your sightseeing and your food tasting and everything locked in. And I was looking forward to a bit of that myself, aside from obviously the fight and everything that was going to come with it. But, I think we're all pretty shattered for Sam and, supporting him at the moment. Looking forward to him recovering and getting back on top again.
What's I guess, recovery look like? And does he keep his mandatory status?
Yeah, look, it's something that we're working on at the moment. It's a tough one. I mean, it's injury that's caused the delay that caused the that causes a postponement, and then for the fight to be changed the way that it has. So, if it wasn't for the injury, we're all in on it. So, we'll work on making sure that he holds his position, and as soon as he's fully recovered, he'll be back in the ring as quick as he can and aiming for that shot as well. He's been working for the world titles. He's been in that number one spot for quite some time and earned it, absolutely earned it. The people that he's fought to get there, he even stayed active while he was waiting in that mandatory position for his turn to come around. Not many people do that. Not many people stay active like he did. Most people would have just waited for a long period before going in, but he stayed active. So, he's as soon as he's ready to go again, we'll be back in and we'll get into it.
I saw some journalists asking about Tim Tszyu already today. People are already asking. We saw Tim Tszyu back in the gym. When do you think Tim will be back? You're looking at sort of April, May. What's the outlook there?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, right? With or without a title, Tim Tszyu still the guy that everyone wants to talk about. So, he'll be back in the ring this year. We'll have an announcement for him very soon. Looking forward to that one. I've been hanging to get Timmy back in there, and get back in the winner's circle. So he's back training already, and we'll have an announcement coming very soon for Tim Tszyu. But he's excited about getting the opportunity to fight back at home and get back in the winner's circle.
Sure, if you saw Eddie Hearn down here last week, did an interview with Eddie Hearn, and he made some comments about Tim Tszyu. Sort of said the jury's still out. Is he elite? Any sort of response to those comments?
I don't think it's one that I really need to respond to. He's a very well opinionated man, and he's got his experience in boxing, and that's his opinion that he holds, and that's fine. Tim's going to have to leave it to his performances in the ring to be able to speak for himself, and that's what he's done his whole career. He's been a guy who's just got in and got the job done and earned his way to the top that he did, and he'll do the same all the way over again. He'll earn his way back to the top, and he's back on the grind and looking forward to it. I think from what we saw in his last performance, that wasn't a Tim Tszyu performance. It's one that they've taken as a learning lesson and as one to get back on the horse and get back focused on what we really want. And I guess for Australian boxing fans, we get to be the beneficiaries of that, in that we'll get to see Tim Tszyu fighting at home and get to see a lot more Tim Tszyu training at home as well too. So there'll be a lot more Tim Tszyu in our boxing life this year in 2025.
We saw him doing some training with Kostya over the new year while Kostya was here on his speaking tour. Do you have any sort of insight into what his camp will look like? I mean, there was talks about going to Russia. Any thoughts on that?
No, well, I don't think any of those talks came from Tim himself. Tim will, they've got their plan on how they do their training, and he knows what works for himself best. And the funny thing is that as soon as someone has a loss, everybody's got an opinion on what they should have done better. But for 20 odd fights, no one had a bad word to say about Tim, and it's funny how people change with a loss, and it's tough in boxing because it's a long time between fights. In footy, you've got a week to turn your luxuries around. You have a bad game, you turn up the next week and kill it, and everyone's back on you again. So, we'll just give it time. We'll get back in the ring, get back in the winner's circle, and he'll do what he knows works best. And he's a very smart man. He's got a very smart team around him too, and he has done that extra work with Kostya over the last few weeks as well, which has been fantastic. I always love seeing them two together. The fact that Kostya was such a legend of the sport here in Australia, and so well respected, and we all enjoyed watching his career. To see them two training together, knowing that Tim's on that same path of entertaining the Australian fans for the last 5 or 10 years, and that's only going to keep continuing.
And Nikita Tszyu as well. He seems to have plenty of options. Brock Jarvis had a good win at the back end of next year. Michael Zarafa's always there. What does Nikita Tszyu's year look like?
Nikita Tszyu, look, his year looks very active. I think the injuries and time out of the ring last year, we feel like we didn't get quite enough Nikita last year as we'd usually like. We've been spoilt with him entertaining the crowds here as well. With Nikita Tszyu fashion, the butcher going in and always turning on a good show. I think this year he'll get back in the ring, and we'll see a lot of Nikita as well. I think there's, as you mentioned, there's some really good fights for Nikita this year after the Cohen fight last year. That was a good one. I really enjoyed that one to finish the year with him, and I think that there'll be a lot more of that we'll see this year. His opponents for his next fight will be announced pretty soon, so looking forward to that. And as you said, there's plenty of big fights this year, so I don't want to give it all away straight away, but I would love to see him in some very entertaining fights this year, and I know that there's some that you're absolutely going to enjoy because and you're not even gonna expect it. I know I've got one for you this year that you will not expect, but you'll absolutely love it.
All right, keep a lookout.
That one, I'll keep that one up the sleeve, brother. It's staying up the sleeve.
Since the last time we spoke, Michael Zarafa's signed a deal with you guys. What does that deal sort of look like? What's included in that deal?
That's Michael Zarafa getting in and doing what Michael Zarafa does, getting in there and stoking up the crowd and creating controversy and getting in the ring and backing it up. And that's what I'm really looking forward to seeing from Zarafa is, he's been talking a lot over the last few years and hasn't had the opportunity to also show Australia what he does in the ring. But this year is his chance to get in and really show what he can do and let the walking match the talking. And I think he'll do that in fine form. And if he looks as good as I expect that he will look, there's some nice juicy fights for him to have here in Australia this year.
Last one. What does the year look like for you guys? Since we last spoke, DAZN's purchased News Corp share in Foxtel. How does that affect you guys at all? How many shows you guys looking to do this year?
Yeah, I think they purchased Telstra's shares as well. They're throwing some money around. They've definitely got the money to do that. That's decision well and truly above my pay grade. I think where we sit in boxing in the Foxtel market, we probably make up 5% of their total focus. It's the NRL and AFL and the cricket, obviously, that'll be the huge impacts of what happens with that deal. They're the major sports on the network, and they're the major costs and major investments for the network. So that'll be the biggest impacts. As far as we're concerned, we'll still aim to put on about 14 shows this year, and we're looking forward to that. We've got some really nice shows lined up, so we're looking forward to that. How the landscape looks in the future, only time will tell.
Beauty. Thanks so much, mate. Appreciate it.
My pleasure.